Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper. All right, so we're gonna get right into it again. This is important. So we all know by now what happened with the Longview driver that went to Mckinney, right?
Yeah, he's
In
okay.
regards to the heat, yeah, which is good. Exactly, he's okay, and that situation was a big issue, okay, and it was addressed in a number of different ways. But we want to go back to something else. One of the initial problems is the driver actually going to McKinney. So,
Yes.
if you want your 8 hours, you don't have to go to another domicile to get your 8 hours. Now, I don't know exactly what happened, but there's no way. If he showed up, he wants his 8 hours, he has to get in his building, even if he's got a sweep. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. He's guaranteed his 8 hours. Now, the problem, if you start doing that, you take people from other buildings, what does that do? That stops the company from hiring. And right now, McKinney, I mean,
Our
obviously,
our
your
staffing
building,
issues are awful.
I mean, ridiculous. And if
Yeah.
we keep sending from other buildings, and that goes to people that they should know their rights, that they don't
Yes.
have to go to another building.
And
And that's what it's trying to say. The company is trying to circumvent the contract again. And because of that, the collaterally, you saw what happened to the driver. So,
because it's a 2.5 hour drive
yeah,
to McKinney
yeah,
from Longview. And
yeah,
now the company should reimburse him for that time for that
3 miles.
mileage, which is
Yep.
for us is 67 cents a mile. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
but still, that adds potentially 5 hours to his day on top
Ah.
of what he's already doing for delivering. So, and that also depends on how far he may live from the Longview Center on top of it. So,
Hmm.
like it adds a lot for somebody to come, especially that far, to help out
Yeah.
another center.
Yeah. It was just, I mean, mistakes, 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 and the company just wanting to do what they want. And what is it? I mean, like you said, you've been understaffed. Everyone's,
Oh
working
yeah,
God knows
we've
how
been
many
understaffed all
hours. And
summer.
so, did they recently put up a TCD list or
Yes,
okay,
they wanted to get 30 names. I believe they were trying to do 30, and I think they got 27. And from what I've been told after this week, they're trying to get all of them in and hired before the mid-October. But obviously they have to pass the intergrad, and then of course they have to pass their first 30 days. So, and you know how this company can be, you hit a
yeah,
curb and you're disqualified. So,
yep,
yeah.
yeah. If they feel like they don't need them, moving forward, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They'll DQ them, or they'll just like, really extend it out to
Yeah.
120 days. I mean, they'll unbelievable.
One other thing I want to touch on too,
Yeah.
the company has really hit hard in our center, and I imagine it'll probably circumvent out to other centers probably around us after the past week that we had in McKinney. It turns out the lytics camera was unplugged in that car.
Really?
So they didn't have any of the footage or anything. So they've been hitting don't tamper with the lytics cameras really hard this week. And I can't impress on anyone listening to this enough. Do not mess with them. Don't touch them. If something's
Nope.
wrong with it, don't try to fix it, because all it takes is for one supervisor to snap a photo of you trying to fix it, and now all of a
Yep.
sudden you're trying to disconnect it. So don't. If something needs to be
Yeah.
fixed, if you want to deal with that, go and contact your supervisor or center manager. Tell them, hey,
Yeah.
mine doesn't work, or it makes a noise, or does this, that, or the other, and they'll tell you what to do. Whether they can inform the mechanics or tell you to write it up on the DVIR or whatever it is.
And just leave it alone completely. I
I
mean,
mean, that's
yeah,
my kind of
just
go to. Just
what camera?
yeah, pretend it's not
What
there.
camera? It's nuts. But yeah, so I mean that whole situation was just, it was bad. It was bad and avoidable, right?
Yeah,
Avoidable.
absolutely, 100%.
And So there's something else we want to talk about, and I know this is happening in my center. You're saying it happened in your center, like especially on Mondays. What
Hmm.
they're doing is saying a specific driver's route is not in. Well, that's not the case. What they're doing is they're calling it a different route.
Yeah,
The route's in, it's just calling it something else. But again, you'll still get the penalty because they're pulling it off.
yeah,
They're pulling you off your route.
yeah. And
Okay,
I would
under
encourage
48.
anyone. I would encourage anyone that has a route that's taken out on Mondays, especially if you can bring up on the computer, the maps. You certainly can't bring it up on the diet board anymore, but
Yeah, yeah,
on the maps, and it shows like, well, this route is delivering all of my stuff. Take a picture of it. Send that in with your grievance.
yep,
Like,
yep.
to me,
Mhm.
that is a penalty pay grievance if somebody else is delivering in your area, especially if they're lower seniority than you.
Well, I mean, on top of that, I mean, that's deception right there.
Yeah,
Uh, when I when I was a BA, we had a manager in one of the centers doing that. We got with labor, and they're like, They told them you don't do that.
yeah,
And it's like, what are you doing? I mean, it's just once again, you're trying to go around, and just kind of do whatever you want. Why would you change the name of it? You can't change the name, the number, the number, whatever of the route. Like, why? Why? Just to suit your purposes? Again,
yeah,
got to be pushed. Like anything else, got to be pushed. Got to
yeah.
be pushed. Yeah. So make sure you keep up with that. Make sure if you're gonna just review a little, make sure you don't touch the cameras.
Yes.
Okay. And if they're telling you you need to go to another building, you don't have to. It's you don't. They have to find you work in your building. That's it. I mean, that's it. Your domicile is your domicile. So that's important to know, and you got to know your rights. And that's what we want here. We want to educate you on things you can do. So I'm glad we definitely spoke about this. And for myself and Garfield, have a good day.
We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.